all know 2020 has been a crazy and terrible year, from the pandemic to a lot of famous people dying and just everything getting canceled, shut down. It's been a terrible and tragic year for a lot of people. And remember at the beginning of the year when you said, this is going to be my year, everything's going to go great. Well, look around, did it really go great with all this pandemic stuff? But today we're going to be going through all the crazy things that happened this year from January to December. I'm recording this on December 30th. You'll see it December 31st before 2021. And we're just going to go back in time and I'm going to show you guys all the crazy and bad things that happened this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. Obviously, there's been a lot of crazy events, but sadly, I couldn't use all the events because this video would go on for days and I want to make this a manageable video for you guys to all watch. So I'm just going to go through the really big and important ones and the ones that a lot of people know about. So yeah, let's get into it. Guys, let's go all the way back to January 2020, the first month of this year, and it's kind of crazy because on the 8th there could have been a potential war between Iran and the US because there was tension between them and there were a couple of missiles launched, which is pretty crazy. And I do remember this event. People really thought it would go to either World War III or at least a war. Looking back at it, it was kind of crazy, but nothing led up to it, thank God, and thank God there was no World War III. Another tragic event that happened in January was the death of the one and only Kobe Bryant, and it's really sad because, he was such an inspiration for a lot of people, and he was only 41 years old, and he died on January 26, 2020 due to a helicopter crash. Him and 8 other people, so including him 9 people in total, died in a helicopter crash, and another person on that helicopter who died was his daughter, Gianna Bryant, and it's really sad that, the night before he died, he was all over social media congratulating LeBron James on passing him in all-time scoring leaders, and, it's crazy how someone can go from being so happy on social media and the next day, dying and being on social media for dying, and it's just really sad. He was such an inspiration for a lot of people. And the worst thing is that it was so unexpected. He was only 41. He was a healthy person. It's just helicopter crash, and it's really sad. And for people who say men don't cry, a lot of people were crying on that day that he died. It was just so shocking and traumatizing. But rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Going on to the next month, February 2020, we had another death, and that's Pop Smoke. He died February 19th, 2020, and it's just really sad that someone like him, he was only 20 years old, he died in a home invasion. He was shot and killed, and he was really famous. He was coming up, his song was all over TikTok. It's what you know about love, I got what you need. It's really sad that he was he was already famous, but he was upcoming, and it's really sad that someone like him, who was only 20 years old, died and he was shot and killed in a home invasion. And that's not all for February. Just 4 days later, an African-American man named Ahmad Arberry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, he was shot and killed just because he was jogging on the streets, and he was basically murdered on the streets by a white man, and he was only 25 years old. He had a family, and what's really sad is that the person who killed him didn't get he didn't face justice right away, and that's why there are a lot of protests and riots this year. Not just for him, but there was a lot of police violence and a lot of people who died, and their killers did not get the justice that they deserved, and that's why there was a lot of riots and protests this year. So this was just one of many, but this was kind of just the beginning of it. This is what started it all, and yeah. What is 2020 without COVID-19? COVID has been out since, I think, around at the end of 2019, but it really hasn't affected anyone in the US since 2020. I think it came in an airplane and then someone got in a cruise, but around March is when this was declared a pandemic and a national emergency, and everything shut down, everything, all schools, businesses, a lot of people lost their jobs. The NBA got shut down. They had to open a bubble later on, but It's really bad to this day, and it still is. And a lot of people, died, and there's over 1 million deaths and 82 million cases counting right now. It's actually still really bad, but I shouldn't really have to explain it to you because it's a national thing, or not just national, worldwide, global thing. So you should really know what COVID-19 is, but it's really bad because, there's restrictions, there's all these things where you can't leave your house, quarantine, you have to wear a mask. But be safe out there if you do go out, and you should know what it is, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. COVID-19 was obviously around in February and January, and it got kind of bad there, but then March, everything went down, and it's been bad ever since, but I'm just not going to spend too much time because you should know what happened because you obviously experienced it. Alright, so remember when I said that Ahmad Arberry was just one of many police violence or African American discrimination deaths where there's a lot of riots and protests. Well, this is the climax. Everyone went crazy about this, rightfully so, because it was unjust and unfair to Breonna Taylor, who died on March 13th, 2020 in Louisiana in her apartment. Basically, what happened was there were these police officers executing a search warrant. They forced their way into the apartment without really saying, "Police, open up," and Breonna Taylor was in bed with her boyfriend, and basically his boyfriend shot from his licensed gun because he didn't know who it was. He thought it was a home intruder, which makes sense, and it was licensed, so he's legally allowed to shoot that if there's an intruder or anything bad like that. So basically he thought it was Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, who I guess was crazy or whatever, and basically he shot the police officer, did not hit anyone, but he didn't know it was the police officer, and the police officer shot back, and Breonna Taylor died, which was very unfair for her, and everyone went crazy. There was many riots, many protests, and there's a lot of things, and people were just mad that those officers, they did not get their judge. They did not get their time in jail for some time, and what they got wasn't fair enough. So that was pretty bad, and a lot of people went crazy about this one, which was rightfully so. So the next one is the Australian wildfires, which is obviously taking place in Australia, considering the name, and it started in about 2019, and it kept going. 2020 rolled around, and finally it stopped, and there was a lot of damage when it stopped, and a lot of bad things happened to the land and animals. Over 1.25 billion animals were, affected by this. Yeah, I'll say that again. 1.25 billion animals were affected by this. And on top of that, 16 million acres of land was also affected by this fire. Thank God it came to an end, but it wasn't a very pretty end, but thank God it stopped. Alright, the next one is the Lebanon explosion, which was actually a massive explosion that was caused by nitrate, and oil, and it was a huge explosion, severely injuring 6,500 people and killing more than 200. And although it was an accidental explosion, but it was really bad, and I'll play the video clip. It's a crazy explosion, as you just saw it, really big and tragic, sadly, and 2020 is a trash year, and there's still many more events to go, so let's get into the next one. Moving on to August 2020, to be specific, August 28, 2020, that was the day the actor Chadwick Boseman died, and if you don't know who he is, he was an actor, and he played in the movie Black Panther. He was Black Panther himself, so he was the main character, and what makes it crazy is that he acted with cancer, which makes him 10 times more of a legend. He was actually a really great actor, and the dedication he had to record a whole movie as the main character with cancer, which that's extreme dedication to his job. And the sad thing is that there will be a Black Panther 2, and sadly he will not be in it, which sucks, which sucks, and yeah. The next one is another death on November 6, 2020, and that was another rapper, King Von. He died at only age 26, and he was pretty well known for his music. So if those sound familiar, you probably know that is King Von, and It's really sad that someone like him, who's only 26, had to go. Coming on in November, the day after King Von died, November 7th, 2020, Joe Biden wins the election and Kamala Harris becomes the first female vice president. I think this could turn into a civil war. I don't think that would happen, but it could lead up to something bad. And right now, it's not the worst thing, but there could be something that could be really bad. Coming to the last month of coming to the last month of the year, actually December, actually on Christmas, which was crazy, there was a bombing in Tennessee, and I'll show you the footage of the bombing right now. And it's crazy that would happen on Christmas, and crazy into 2020. Hopefully nothing else happens. I'm recording on this on the 30th. You'll probably see it on the 31st, just before 2020 closes and 2021 starts, which is crazy that this year is finally coming to an end. Hopefully 2021 is great, but it's been a hell of a year. It's been crazy. But hopefully 2021 is good, and with that out the way, I'm going to end this video off. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below if I missed anything. I obviously can't put every single event that happened in 2020 because this video would go on for days and days. But comment down below what if I missed anything, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you in 2021. Peace.